The origins of the Mercedes-Benz company go back to 1926, following the merger of two German automobile companies, Benz NC and Daimler Motor and Gesellschaft, and Wilhelm Maybach. Daimler-Benz launched. With the formation of the merger company, the necessity of using a common brand name was felt because on one side was the Benz AG company, which produced Benz-branded cars for more than 40 years from 1883 until the formation of the new company. On the other side was the Daimler Motor and Gesellschaft, founded in 1890 by Gottlieb Daimler, and Wilhelm Maybach had been launched. This company for the first time from four-stroke engines and carburetor used in its cars, but following the death of Daimler in 1900 and the signing of a contract between Maybach and Emil Jellink, DMG company changed its cars to the Mercedes brand. Offered. From June 28, 1926, the cars produced by the factories of the new company were marketed under the Mercedes-Benz brand. In the late 1920s, after establishing itself in the automobile market, Mercedes-Benz entered the field of racing cars, and was also famous for making special and expensive models. One of the very good examples of this decade is the Mercedes-Benz SLC model. It was built in 1928 and in 1999 was one of the 26 candidates for the title of Car of the Century. The Mercedes-Benz SLC had a 6-cylinder engine with a volume of 7.1 liters and could produce 197 horsepower. Produce power. The SLCA quickly became a popular car on the racetrack, used not only by Mercedes-Benz, but also by other teams. According to Mercedes-Benz documents, 33 of the model were built between 1928 and 1932, more than half of which were for racing. In 2004, one of them was sold at an auction for $7.5 million. In the late 1920s, after establishing itself in the automobile market, Mercedes-Benz entered the field of racing cars, and was also famous for making special and expensive models. One of the very good examples of this decade is the Mercedes-Benz SLC model. It was built in 1928 and in 1999 was one of the 26 candidates for the title of Car of the Century. The Mercedes-Benz SLC had a 6-cylinder engine with a volume of 7.1 liters and could produce 197 horsepower. Produce power. The SLCA quickly became a popular car on the racetrack, used not only by Mercedes-Benz, but also by other teams. According to Mercedes-Benz documents, 33 of the model were built between 1928 and 1932, more than half of which were for racing. In 2004, one of them was sold at an auction for $7.5 million. During the 1940s, due to the outbreak of World War II, Mercedes-Benz did not produce any new models. After World War II, Mercedes-Benz 300 was the first car, which was completely designed and built by this company. This model after Konrad Adenauer, the first Chancellor of West Germany, he used it and became known as Adenauer Mercedes. The luxury features of this car were far ahead of its time. Radio made by Becker Factory, VHF mobile phone system, typewriter, desk, curtain, and glass ceiling were among these facilities. Coupe and cabriolet models were also made from this series. This company, in 1954, Mercedes-Benz 300 SL model produced. The idea of making this car came to fruition with Max Hoffman, a foreign car dealer in the United States of America. And contrary to the usual custom, he unveiled it at the New York Auto Show instead of Germany. The most important characteristic of this car was its doors, which opened like the wings of birds. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL with a maximum speed of 225 km per hour, the fastest time machine was himself. 2 years later, in 1956, the Mercedes-Benz 190 SL it was released, which, although it did not have the technical capabilities of the 300 SL, was just as popular. Between 1953 and 1959, Mercedes-Benz introduced a new generation of cars, known as the Pontoon, with the launch of the W180 series. Pontoon models looked less like pre-war cars, with large front fenders. Many consider this model to be the great ancestor of the Mercedes-Benz class they call. At the beginning of the 1960s, Mercedes-Benz designed the Mercedes-Benz W111 with the idea of replacing the Pontoon, whose idea was taken from the American sedans of the 40s. This car was designed according to the taste of European and American buyers, and the safety of passengers was given more importance in its construction. The back of this model, following the fashion, resembled a fishtail. Until 1971, about 370,000 units of W111 were sold. Mercedes-Benz has always been a household name among heads of state and the rich, but the Mercedes-Benz 600 model, produced in 1963, is more famous among limousines and luxury cars. Perhaps one of the reasons for this fame was the lack of competitors for such a product in those years. While the only companies Rolls-Royce motor cars, Bentley, and Cadillac they produced limousine-class cars, Mercedes-Benz 600 it quickly opened its place as a ceremonial car. The Mercedes-Benz W113 was designed in 1963 by Paul Brock, whose production continued until 1972. Half of the 23,000 units that were produced from this car were sold in America and less than 5,000 units were exported to other countries. In the mid-1960s and in 1965, the Mercedes-Benz S-Class model it was released for the first time. The last Benz cars that entered the market in the 1960s were the Mercedes-Benz W114 models and Mercedes-Benz C111, which were produced in 1968 and 1969, respectively. In April 1971, a new generation of SL models with the code Mercedes-Benz R107 and C107 was released to the market. The board of directors of Mercedes-Benz was hesitant to produce this car as a roadster. The most important market for this product was in America, and Benz managers were worried that the strict laws that were being passed for the safety of open cars in the United States of America would make it difficult to sell this car. But finally, with more attention to safety, this car was made in the roadster class and it was possible to install a metal roof on it. An 8-cylinder engine was used for the first time in this series. This Benz room was produced for 18 years and after the G series, it is the longest time that a Mercedes-Benz model has been produced. Until 1989, this company had 240,000 units of Mercedes-Benz R107 and C107 models sold. In 1978, Mercedes launched the first model of its cars with a turbo diesel engine in the form of the Mercedes-Benz W116 model, produced and marketed. In 1979, for the first time, this company released two models simultaneously in 1 year, which were Mercedes-Benz W126 and Mercedes-Benz G-Class. In 1983, after 4 years, when Benz had not designed and released any new model, finally from the Mercedes-Benz W201 series unveiled. In the 1980s, unlike the previous 3 decades, when 18 new models were designed and produced, the company released only 3 new models. 1 year after the launch of the W201 series, Mercedes-Benz commissioned the British Cosworth Company to build a 2.3-liter engine to participate in rally competitions to promote its compact model. The Mercedes-Benz 190i gave Audi company Audi Quattro model. He sent it to the market with a 4-wheel drive system, which was difficult to compete with. Benz decided to send the 190 to DTM races instead of rallying. Cars that have been sold in the car market have the right to participate in these competitions. This law forced Mercedes-Benz to unveil an example of this model first. Mercedes-Benz 190e. He was able to record 12 long-distance speed records to his name, after which he quickly became a classic car. Mercedes-AMG 12-cylinder engine. More to power. The Pagani Zonda is famous, but before this engine was considered for this super sports car. It was made in 1989 for use in the Mercedes-Benz SL model. Mercedes-Benz buyers in the late 1980s could give their SL model to AMG for 99,000 marks to install the biggest engine the company had produced up to that time. This 7.3-liter 12-cylinder engine produced 518 horsepower, and the car's speed reached 320 kilometers per hour. In the 1990s, the design and production of various Mercedes-Benz models once again took an upward trend. In 1990 and 1991, respectively, Mercedes-Benz W124 and Mercedes-Benz W140. It was produced in 1993 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, in 1995 Mercedes-Benz SL-Class, in 1996 Mercedes-Benz SLCA, and in 1997 Mercedes-Benz M-Class. They were unveiled one after another. In the late 1990s, the managers of Mercedes-Benz decided to make cheaper and smaller cars, as in the first years of the company's activity, which in 1997 Mercedes-Benz class put it on the market. The use of transverse engine and front differential in a Mercedes-Benz was unusual. Shortly after the launch of this model, the E-Class overturned in a sudden lane change test conducted by a Swedish magazine, which resulted in a lot of negative publicity. At first, the managers of Mercedes-Benz denied the technical problem of this model, but they quickly recalled the sold cars and installed the control system. Automatic parking fixed the problem. Class E became one of the best sellers of this company in the following years. In 2004, after 7 years of not introducing a new model, Mercedes-Benz produced the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren in partnership with McLaren. At the end of this year, another model named Mercedes-Benz CLS was also unveiled. In 2010, this company, to replace the Mercedes-Benz SLR model, inspired by the Gullwing model and in cooperation with AMG, created a new model called Mercedes-Benz SLS-AMG, produced, which accelerates from 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds and has a maximum speed of 317 kilometers per hour. The latest model introduced by the company is the Mercedes-Benz CLA class, which debuted at the North American International Auto Show in January 2013. It was unveiled